Leah, we are going to start the YouTube channel as well. Okay. Good evening, good afternoon. I don't think it's good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I'm Lorna Holtman, your host for this event, and I am the Division C Director for District 74. Let me put my camera on and hope that my internet is not unstable today. Thank you so much. Right. We are going to go straight into the business of the day, which is our panel discussion. And I am going to introduce the moderator for today, a remarkable individual who, for me, exemplifies resilience and mastering communication. He is none other than Jai Narayan, who is based in India and who's been a Toastmaster for over 13 years. He is a qualified architect, a graphic designer, who after going blind in his mid-30s, pivoted to become a self-leadership and presentation mastery trainer and a global speaker. With over 30 years of corporate experience across various industries, he brings unparalleled insights and empathy to his role. Jai is an esteemed member of Royal Premier Toastmasters Club in District 51, and he is also a member of Annual International Advanced Club Year in District 74. Please join me in welcoming Jai Narayan to the stage. Over to you, Jai.
Thank you, DTM Lorna, and Toastmasters, including aspiring contestants. Now, this is a very rare opportunity indeed. The world #2 and #3 of the International Speech Contest WCPS, or World Championship of Public Speaking, sharing the stage today not as rivals, but as experienced champions to offer us insights into preparing for the upcoming speech contest. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you heard, since I'm blind, I shall ask my co-pilot sitting next to me to introduce my panelists today. Over to you, Sharp.
Yes. Hello, everybody. You can hear me, but you can't see me because I'm using Jay's audio. Now, let me introduce the first panelist, who is Mahathir. You may have seen him in the World Championship of Public Speaking 2025 and even 2022. He was world #2 this year and world #3 in 2022, a 4-time semi-finalist, 12-time district champion. I can't even get past division. And he is co-founder of Mic Front Public Speaking franchise, 16 outlets and counting. And outside the stage, a fun guy in every occasion. And just so you know, he's a second-generation Toastmasters. He has wonderful parents who are also Toastmasters. Next, we have Alan Ang, a corporate trainer and coach, 9+ years of experience in communication, productivity, and strategy, a Toastmaster since 2018, World Championship of Public Speaking this year, the 3rd place. Oh, wow, exciting it was to watch both of these guys. And he's from District 87. He's also a very esteemed leader in District 87. So, ladies and gentlemen, both communication and leadership, both of these people have it. Now, back to you, Jay.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Of course, we are privileged to have both of you with us, champions. So we have a limited 1-hour window today, and so we'll dive right into the questions. Alan, if you can hear me clearly, my first question is to you.
Before that, Lorna, can you spotlight all three?
Oh, we haven't been spotlighted yet. All right. Tell me when it's done, Lorna.
Done.
All right, thank you so much. So, Alan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Jai.
All right, Alan, my question to you, Alan, is I have not had my left leg bitten off by a shark and on one leg conquered Mount Everest without oxygen. In effect, my story has no trauma, drama, or aroma of success. Now, I believe that the story of my life is not worthy of a speech contest. What is your advice for so many contestants who feel that they don't have a contest-ready story? What would you tell them?
I don't have it either. That's why I got married and I have kids. Truth to be told, I think all of us would experience something similar, which is we don't think too highly or too valuable of our own story. I can answer this in two aspects. Number one is that we all have to believe that there will only be one person like ourselves in this whole wide world. You can find another person who has been a Toastmasters for 10 years. You can find another person who is a husband and has 2 children, but you may not be able to match every single of your life experience with the other person. So in another way, we are all unique by ourselves. That is a very important mindset to have. Do not discount yourself before attempting anything. Number one. Number two, for me, personally, I enjoy more stories that are very simple, down to earth, but you can extract a lot of lesson from it rather than needing someone to have traumatic experience in all those. We empathize for it, but it's not necessarily needed in all of those. So inspiration can be drawn from even everyday life. And I think that is where the true test of a public speaking skill comes in. How do you turn something ordinary into something that is inspirational and of value? So these are the two things, two thought process that I think it's crucial for us to have first before thinking about going further deep down into speech crafting.
Wonderful. That's so beautifully put, Alan. How to turn something ordinary into something inspirational for a speech contest. I think a lot of you people can take away some tips from that. Mas, you can hear me, right? Now, Alan touched upon life stories. Mas, I would like to ask you about story mining. Where do you find inspiration for your stories? In effect, what tips could you offer people on where they could source their stories from? Specifically, where can they look into? Or what can they look into?
Question. Thank you so much, Jai. And I think this would be very beneficial for everybody because just like what Alan mentioned, right? All of us, we have our stories. We have our own experiences. Now, the thing is, sometimes those stories get buried. And when they get buried and we don't document them, it's very hard for us to just find one sitting to think about all those stories. It's very difficult. So for me, the way I do my process is this. I do a two-way process. The first process is I observe the things around me, observe the people, observe what they do, how they do things. Maybe it could be how a cashier treats the customer treats the cashier, something as simple as that. And because of these observations, it will give me some insights. Hey, wait a minute, I think I've experienced something similar to that before. So that helped me to uncover some of those buried stories. Now, the second way I do this is I actually go to Google and I would ask Mr. Google, tell me, what are some great topics that I can use to talk about something this year, and hopefully a message that could inspire people regardless of what religion or race they're from. And so with all this list of topics, I would then pick something that I feel strongly about. So let's say, for example, this year, I wanted to talk about kindness. And that's where I took that theme and I started digging deeper. Kindness. When was I experiencing kindness? Or when was someone kind to me? Or when did someone taught me to be kind? And that's how I reflect on it. So there are two ways. Number one, look out and get those inspirations. Maybe you would have lived a similar experience. And number two, maybe you would like to choose a certain theme and then go deep from there. But this is just my tips, my strategy. Maybe different from people, I don't know.
No, indeed. Those were very useful tips indeed, Mas. In fact, you did not mention also observing popcorn makers. So, Alan, back to you. This is almost like both of you are at a Wimbledon final here, back and forth. So, Alan, my question now to you is, what are some key ingredients that you would include in a contest speech, which would be different from your regular Pathways Project 5 to 7 minute speeches? If I repeat the question, what are some key ingredients essential for contest speeches in your opinion?
Okay, number one, I have a confession to make. I have not been delivering halfway speeches as consistently as I wanted to.
Okay.
However, however, the way that I approach a speech contest and the way that I approach any of my speeches or any keynotes that I delivered are the same. So
Mhm.
I do not change specifically just because it is a contest. Now, this is for me because number one, I
Mhm.
try to maintain certain consistency in how I approach um, public speaking.
Mhm.
And it just happened that a World Championship of Public Speaking has something at stake, which is there is some glories and there is some moments of brilliance. But aside from that, my intention is still the same, which is if the whole world stops for 7 minutes, what is that one value I can give it to them? So if I were to
Mm.
be speaking at the club, if I were to have 7 minutes of each member's time, what kind of story would I share with them? Now, if I were to
Mm.
deliver a keynote and I have 40 minutes of everyone's time, what is
Mm.
that one thing that I would like to inspire them? So the approach is the same. And the reason for doing that, in my opinion, is similar to working out. It's like a muscle memory. So I want to be
Mhm.
able to put myself in a situations where if someone give me a topic and they tell me this is the outcome or this is the objective that they wanted to achieve, I will be able to very quickly structure my speech and I can find the right stories to plug it in. That is how
Mm.
I approach it. So there's nothing much. But if we want to go deeper and say, were there to
Mm.
be any differences? Maybe it's the mindset and how you approach a contest. I
Mhm.
once heard this: the, the contest is
Mm.
won before you step onto the stage. So whoever is
Wow.
able to calm down first, would be able to perform better. So it is
Mhm.
also a test of will and also a test of your resilience or your ability to calm yourself down. So I think those are the things that are not so much spoken about of a speech contest outside of just about crafting the speech. Yeah.
Mm. Wonderful. The contest is won even before you step onto the stage. For you two champions, it was also won after you stepped off the stage. So well done on that. Mas, if I'll go back to you here now. And this is a question that even I have been asked many times, Mas, and I really like to pick your brains on this. Is humor a very essential, component of an international speech contest? Now, what if my speech did indeed have drama, trauma, and a potentially life-changing message in it, but very little humor? Would I still stand a chance to go right up to the top and possibly win? In your opinion, Mas?
Thank you so much. I personally, I have to make a confession. I am not funny person at all. In
Oh,
fact, I
really?
cannot. I struggle to make people laugh without feeling awkward. Yeah, so that's my
Okay.
weakness. In fact, when I was competing in my early years, there were a few people who competed with me, and they will always say this to me: "Oh, there is one way to beat Mas Mahathir, humor, because he's not that good at humor." And really, he won because of that. And I have to admit, humor is still my weakest area, and I'm still trying to find ways to improve on that. But being said, this question is really intriguing because do you
Mm.
really need humor to go all
Mm.
the way to the top, right?
Yep.
My answer to this is not necessary. Not
Okay.
necessarily. And to give you a good perspective, let's go back to 2020. The world number two in 2020 was Linda Marie Miller. And if you
Mm.
watch her speech, which is on YouTube, by the way, completely no humor. It was a serious topic. From start to finish, we were all engrossed. So, what does this tell us? It tells us
Mhm.
that we as humans can be engaged by the storyteller by the way that they tell their stories, not necessarily by engaging them through humor or entertaining them through humor, right? But
Mm.
does this mean that humor should not be inputted? Well, if you
Mm.
can, go ahead. But the rule is don't force the humor to be in your speech.
Mm.
That's why
Mm.
they say when you're crafting your stories, you should uncover the humor within instead of trying to
Mm.
force those funny lines, funny jokes. Hopefully it lands, hopefully it doesn't. And if it doesn't, it's going to make you look awkward. So this is something that I've learned from a world champion coach. He told me, Mahathir, uncover the humor. Once you write your
Mm.
speeches, write it as per you do it normally, and then look at it deeper. Were there any
Mm.
moments or instances in this where, there were moments you chuckled, you laughed, or you giggled a little bit? If you do, and if you did, let's try to amplify that. Let's find something there because there is a gem there that we can uncover. So to answer the question, no, humor is not really that important to go all the way up because we've seen people like Linda did it. But if you can, it would definitely add some flavor to the speech.
Thank you so much, Mas. But a quick clarification back to you, Mas, on what you just stated. Does it mean that if you say uncover the humor from your speech, it organically evolves from your speech where you find something was funny? Am I right in that understanding?
It means to say that in your daily life, when you're telling the story, sometimes when the funny happened to us, we may brush it off and we may forget about it, right? But when you just write the story as it is, suddenly you're putting a little bit more thought, you're putting a little bit more reflection into it. And then when you start focusing on it, you start to realize, oh yeah, when this happened, actually it was quite embarrassing for me. And sometimes that embarrassment can be used for something funny, right? So that's what it means by uncovering it. You look deeper into that story to find what were the moments that you can potentially draw humor from. Yeah.
Got it. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. I think that was very useful to all potential contestants. Alan, back to you. And Alan, what I would like to ask you is a lot of us sitting on the fence wondering, do we contest at all? Because I don't really see myself going through to win the contest. What would you suggest or advise people on the benefits of participating in a Toastmaster contest, whether you win or not? The benefits of actually just taking part. You have any tips on that? Or thoughts on that? Yeah, Alan?
Yep.
In fact, both of you can answer that, a few points from either Mas and you, and then I'll come back to Mas.
Okay. First thing is, I personally believe that everyone should give it a try to contest. Now, I'm thinking it took me a long time to come to the answer. Is I'm not someone who likes to give advice saying that you must do this or you must do that. I mean, that's how we learn from Toastmasters as well. But contest is probably one of those few things that I strongly encourage every Toastmasters to do. Now, when we deliver a speech at our club, the stake may not be as high, or the perceived stake may not be as high. So the amount of work that we take to prepare for it might be just 50, 60, 70%. But the moment you commit to joining a contest, you will try to give your best. I always have this idea that if you join one speech contest, the thought or the effort in refining the speech over and over again, getting feedback, improving it, that one speech itself would probably equal to all the lessons that you've learned from delivering 5 to 6 different speeches at the club level. So in terms of leveling up, in terms of really understanding our strength as a speaker or our area of growth as a speaker, going to the contest puts us in that position to excel and to be better. So that's number one. Number two, if anyone is on the fence right now, I have a mentee who asked me the same question as well. And said, Alan, I'm not sure should I join or not. And I said, it is not up to you to decide. Let the judge decide. So the judge will decide whether you should continue to contest. Your job as a member of Toastmasters is to fulfill the promise of personal growth and hoping people see you as a source of inspiration. So join the contest first, let the judge decide whether you move on to the next stage. So that's my take on it.
Very interesting and intriguing take on it, Alan. Wow, let the judge decide whether we will proceed with the contest. For you, you're just all about personal growth. Wonderful. I love that. So, Mas, would you like to add a few lines on that, on, what the benefit of contesting?
Sure. And I think what Alan said was spot on because you'll never actually know how much you can grow until you put yourself in a contest setting, because the contest is the one that really pushes you to think differently, to write differently, to practice relentlessly. And because of the amount of time you spend in a contest speech, you will definitely see an exponential growth. For example, in 2016, when I first joined Toastmasters, I did a series of speeches, but I didn't see myself improving after every speech. I was in the legacy program, so we had the CC1, CC2, and all that, right? And after CC6, when I get to qualify for the international speech contest, I look back, I didn't see that much of an improvement. But when I competed in my first international speech contest, I saw a difference from club to area, and in just
Yep.
that short amount of time. So that's what contesting can do for you. You will see a different side of you.
Wow. And I'm going to wrap up with you again, Mas, because you have a little limited time with us today. So pop your semifinal speech. And of course, who can forget raindrops at the final speech? So Mas, how important is a speech title to set the stage for your speech and get your audience interested, intrigued, excited, and wanting to hear more even before you start to speak? The importance of speech titles. Can you give us some tips on that?
Yeah, I personally, for me, I think a speech title is absolutely critical for your entire speech. It can either give the audience a direct perception of what the speech is going to be about, which will lose their interest, or it could be way too confusing that they get lost in another dimension. So
Yeah.
there must be that sweet spot where it gets them curious enough, but it still serves the overall central message of your theme, of your story. So for me, I would put a lot of time in coming up with a title, but the title for me usually changes along the way. So I would have my first version of a title and a script, but then as I start to tweak, take my speech to the surgery table, cut here, cut there, operate this, operate that, I'll start to realize maybe this title doesn't work anymore. I'll give you an example. Initially, my pop speech was supposed to be called Mr. Popcorn. It was supposed to be Mr. Popcorn.
Okay.
So Mr. Popcorn it's curious inducing, right? But it's not catchy enough. So I thought, okay, what about the sound effect of Mr. Popcorn's popping the popcorn, right? So doing so gets the audience to think a little bit differently regarding about what the speech is going to be about. Because pop could mean a few things. Similarly for raindrops. I did not come out with the whole snapping thing until the night before the World Championship of Public Speaking. So the night, originally my speech title was supposed to just be raindrops. That's it, right? Very simple. So I thought hard and I was thinking, how can I make raindrops and how can I bring the snaps earlier so that people can connect the dots, right? So I went through with my coach and I told my coach, I said, is it okay if I actually snap my fingers in my title? And she said, yeah, go ahead, try. There's no rules that said you can't do it. In fact, when we were at the briefing at the World Championship of Public Speaking, the international president at the time, Mr. Stefano McGee, he actually came up to me and he said, Mahathir, are you sure your title is going to be raindrops and not snap raindrops? Are you sure this is allowed? So we actually had to talk to one of the world headquarters staff, and she said, by the way, Jesse, do you think it's okay to snap fingers for a title? And then Jesse said, well, it's not in the rule book, so I guess it's fine. So I'm so thankful, so grateful that the contest Toastmaster was able to snap his fingers. And I believe if you do it or you think of some creative way for your title, you actually draw your audience to see the speech in a different light. Yeah. That's for me.
Yeah, that was brilliant. In fact, Mr. Popcorn reminds me of, how can we forget Mike Carr's speech during COVID when he said the librarian and Mrs. Montgomery. And we were all wondering who the librarian was, who Mrs. Montgomery was, just like your Mr. Popcorn then went to pop. Great, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that completes my moderator round of questions, but I do open this up to the floor for questions to our esteemed panelists. I would suggest that you address most of your questions to Mas Mahathir first, because he needs to leave sooner than Alan. Alan, you got to play the waiting game for a while.
No problem.
No problem. All right. So.
Yeah, Lorna, can you take over the question?
All right, Lorna, it's over to you.
Thank you very much. That was interesting. And I got really interested in the speech title choice because I always mess it up. So thank you for the advice on that one. I will try to be more creative as we go, forth. Are there any questions from the audience? I know DTM Valande is in the room and many others that might have questions.
Lorna, Amrita's hand is up.
I see that. Amrita, go ahead.
Yes. Thank you so much for this amazing session. I just want to ask you one question. Sometimes we practice one of the speeches a number of times, and I felt after that it's mechanical, you know, the naturalness and rawness of that speech gone away. So what can we do? What can we do in that case? Because as a good speaker, you have to practice a lot. But during that practice session, that naturalness gone away. I felt that. So what do you take on this?
Thank you so much, Amrita. And I think this is so valid because the more we practice something, the more robotic it feels because it takes away the passion from the first time we're delivering the speech. But if I were to dissect this speech, and I think because I learned this from my mentor, I had the same question before. I asked him, I said that what would happen if I keep practicing my speeches again and again and I sound robotic because I've gotten feedback that people says, Mahathir, you look too polished on stage, right? So my mentor told me this, Mahathir, if you look too polished on stage, it simply means one thing, you didn't practice enough. Yeah, so it just simply means I did not practice enough, right? So so I asked him, what do you mean I didn't practice enough? I practiced like a lot. So he said this, when you are practicing your speeches, right, you want to practice to the point of spontaneity, to the point where you can really bring out that emotions and not look robotic. That is the level that you need to practice. So most people, when they practice, they will reach robotic and they get stuck there. So if you push a little bit more to practice the emotions, to practice bringing out how you are going to express it, then people can see the spontaneity from that and the authenticity from that. So practice a little bit more if you feel you're stuck at being robotic. I hope that answers your question, Amrita.
Yes, and one more question, the follow-up question. Ideal, how many times can we practice to, uh, to go that stage?
Okay, practicing is a very personal thing, which means that different people require different amounts of time to practice. For me, I require high amounts, which means that I need to make sure that I know exactly how I'm going to deliver, how I'm going to express certain things. And I want to make sure that whatever expression I'm delivering, people can feel the right expression. Sometimes I notice that when I record myself, I notice that I'm not delivering the right expression and people react differently. So for me, I take it a lot, which means that in this year's speech contest, I think I've practiced a total of more than 200 times for both of my speeches, just so that I could get in the right state of mind and the right expression. But not all people work the same way. I have a few mentees, I have a few fellow contestants as well who practice half the amount or even less, but they're able to deliver a spectacular speech. So it's really personal to how you operate. My operating system requires me to know everything about my speech, but some people just enough so that they can really feel the expression. Yeah. So yeah, that's just for me. Yeah,
Yes,
Amrita, thanks for
thank you
asking.
so
Amrita,
much.
I'm going to add, sorry, Amrita, I'm going to add one line to what Mas has just shared with us. And Amrita, that is practice not to be delivery perfect, but practice so you don't forget the important parts of your speech.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
There's a question in the chat. Is it wise to repeat or redo a speech that didn't win at district?
And that
Mas
question is
and
to
then
Mas
Alan,
again.
same question.
Yeah. Alan, do you want to go first?
Sorry.
Okay. The question was about, is it wise to repeat or redo a speech that didn't win at the district?
Yes.
Why not? Why not? That's my thought. To me, if a speech, okay, when you win a speech contest, it means that your speech fits the taste bud of the judges. Which also means that if your speech didn't win at the district, it doesn't mean that it is not a good speech. It only means that it fits to the judges' appetite a little bit more than the other speeches. And maybe the context, the environment, the settings itself, certain speech have advantage over the others. So whether we should repeat a speech or not, I think maybe we should look at it on a different perspective. It would be, do I believe my speech has a value that I could share with this audience? So it's always going back to the audience. If the answer is yes, then why not? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Alan.
if I were to add on to
Mas?
that, right, I think Alan said it perfectly. you can repeat and redo a speech. And sometimes, again, depending on the audience of the day, judges of the day, that speech may not win district this year, but may suddenly win district next year. Who knows, right? For me, how I take redoing or repeating a speech is I would do it with a little bit of a calculation, which means I would not do it directly the next year. For example, if I don't win district this year, and then next year, I would not repeat that speech from club to district. I may repeat it for the potential World Championship finals, but I would not repeat it in the early rounds. Because if I'm competing in the same district, the judges and the audience might be thinking, because humans, we will always have this perception, I've heard it before, so I can't mark objectively. Although judges are trained not to do that, but there will be instances where it would happen. So repeating a speech is okay, but do some calculation and some, make sure that it doesn't really go directly the next year. For example, my pop speech is actually a repeated speech, but I repeated it 3 years ago. It was actually used in my 2022 semifinals. Yeah, so I did the math, I calculated. Well, in 2022, this person would have become a CGD, PQD, DD. The next year, this person would be promoted to DD. Then the next year, this one will be promoted. So by 2025, nobody would have heard my speech. Great, so I'm going to reuse it. So that's why I use it this year.
Lorna, can I add one line again to what they've said on the same?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so Lorna, one of the things is the question was asked, can we repeat a district speech that we did not win? Well, first of all, if we didn't win the district, you're not going further than that, right? So it's a year later. And a year later, some things may have happened in your own life. With the same speech, if you modify it with the new thing that happened, maybe it was more powerful. So as always, as both our panelists have shared, you become organically more better in terms of your storytelling. So maybe if you repeat it, it becomes a better story. Sorry, back to you.
Excellent. Thank you. I think we always progress when we practice anyway.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? My internet is a bit unstable, so I'm not putting my camera on for that reason. I had a question. How do you choose a coach?
You put them on a spot there now.
Mas, you go ahead first, Mas.
Thank you, Alan. Okay, so how do I choose a coach? All right, I have a certain process when it comes to choosing a coach. Okay, I'm going to be very honest with you. I've actually engaged with a number of coaches before. If I'm not mistaken, I think 5 or 6 world champion coaches, but not in the same year. Not in the same year. It was throughout my contesting journey. And all of these 5 to 6 coaches that I've engaged, I noticed that there are strengths that these coaches have that would fit the need that I need right now. So there are some coaches where the style of their coaching did not match what I was requiring, what I needed. So I did not further engage with them, but I learned something from them. They're all amazing coaches, amazing individuals. But at that point of time, it didn't work for me. So for me, when I choose a coach, I'm looking for 2 things. Number one, I want someone to help me bounce ideas so that I could see how my story could flourish into a better version of where it is right now. And so this coach will just sit down with me. We will ask he or she will ask questions, and we'll just get to know a little bit deeper about my stories so I can find something. But right after that, I have a second coach. And this second coach will help me to distill all those raw ideas into well-articulated, well-crafted lines so that it becomes polished and concise. And then my role is to see how do I turn it into my style of speaking. So when I choose a coach, I look for these 2, idea generation, and also how do I make it more distilled and more concise. Yeah, that's just for me.
Alan?
Okay. Let me see how I should answer this. Okay, number one. Okay. I find it hard to answer this question is because I don't have a coach.
Wow.
I don't have a coach, but not because I don't want to, but because I think I have to bring the responsibility back to myself. If I were to choose a coach, there are certain criteria that I'm looking into. Number one is I definitely want to have someone who is brutally honest So which means that I don't want any sandwich method. I don't want anything that is about how good you are or how great you've done. I want someone who can come in here and immediately pinpoint my weak point and tell me exactly what I am not good at. That's number one. But number two, which is more importantly, is it's like a matchmaking. You need to find someone who you can fully trust as well. When I said that the responsibility on me is because I have not watched a lot of the past contests over the last 7-8 years. I left competing after 2017, so I have not watched any speeches after then. So for me to go in there and look for someone who I don't know, I find it's unfair to them and it's unfair to myself as well. So in that instance, I only told myself one thing: enjoy and go all the way. Take this as a test of your personal growth over the last 6-7 years. Take this as a test of whether your style or what you perceive as a potential good structure would fit other people's expectation. So to me, it was more like a test, a journey of finding myself. It helps a lot in gardening your personal self-esteem and all those. But if someone come to me and say, Alan, should I engage a coach? I think you should. And if I were to do it again, I would. But I make sure I do my homework first by watching everybody's speech and find the right person who I believe can give me the best value, so that it is also fair to them for the time that they invested in me as well. So it has to be both way. And that's why I agree with Mas. It's not that I don't want to this year, it's just that I don't think I can be fair to both parties at this point in time. But moving forward, if there's any opportunity, I'm definitely looking for people who can give me input. However, what I want is brutally honest, which is like, I just want to hear the truth. Yeah. So that's my take.
Lorna, can I say
Okay.
something here
Go
about
ahead.
your question? With your question,
Go ahead.
one line already. Ideally, if the coach picks you, you couldn't have asked for anything better than you picking the coach. Such as world champion Dhananjaya said earlier, they see something in you. So you get picked means you couldn't have asked for anything better.
Right. Thank you, John. There's a question in the chat. I just need to get to the chat.
Can we check with Mas how long he has with us, though?
Mas, how's
But
your
it's still
time?
okay.
Okay.
You'll be okay, right?
There's a question. Maru asks, how should I prepare for a history speech that also involves religion? Is it better to practice on my own or give the speech at a club meeting to improve my public speaking skills? Did you get that, Mas or Alan? How should I prepare for a history speech that involves religion?
I can go first, then Mas can add on to it. I think the number one is, personally for me, maybe it's the way that I'm being brought up in Toastmasters. Politics, sex, and regions are three things that I try as much as possible not to touch upon. And not because I don't have any respect, but it's the opposite, because I have full respect of it. And I want to make sure that when I deliver something, my audience would be totally comfortable with what I have to share. So until I know that I can do that, I would try to stay away from it. So that's number one. Number two, if I were to deliver a speech that it has of historical value, I also need to be very cautious of it. Is it original enough? Why am I citing this history? Is it using this as a foundation for me to bring out a certain point? If yes, do I have a better example that I can use as a premise for me to bring out this point? If yes, why do I necessarily need to go through that history? So I think there's a lot of things that we need to check through. And number three, which is, if I really decide to move forward with it, then I have to ask myself, from what angle should I be sharing this? Because as a speech, I would be using that to bring out the key message that I wanted to convey. So my message should be the core, and everything else should be an aid, or should be something that adds value to it. So that is to answer the first part of the question: how should I prepare for a history speech that involves religion? Now, the second part of the question, whether it is better to practice on my own or give the speech at a club meeting. If I think it applies to all speeches as well. If we wanted to have feedback, it is good to get from people to deliver at someone else's club so that they can share with us some feedback, not necessarily based on an evaluator. You can also ask people who are not evaluating your speech for some feedback as well. Feedback is always a good input, but as time goes by, we must also understand all the feedback that we receive, we have to filter accordingly, so we know which one we will be able to implement it or which one we want to add it onto our own arsenal. Otherwise, we may end up becoming someone or becoming the kind of speakers that we are not supposed to be. Now, when I said that, I spoke from experience because in the earlier years, whoever gave me feedback, I'll try to act on the feedback, and then somehow, some way, rather, I lost myself, right? Because I don't know who am I, because why did I sounded like this person? Why did I sounded like the other person? Who is the real me? Right. So that is my take on these questions. And I think Mas can give a lot more value on this from his experience.
Go
Thanks,
ahead,
Alan.
Mas.
And Alan shared so much already, so I'm just gonna copy CTRL and paste here. Okay. If I was to add just a little bit more, just a little bit more from what Alan has already shared, some amazing stuff, is when it comes to sharing whatever presentation, whether it's a history speech with religion or whatever topic, I always tell people to get clear with their ATO, audience, topic, objective. Who's the audience? What's the topic? And what's the objective of your speech? And if you can get a clear ATO, it is very clear then for the audience to expect what is going to happen, especially if you have a clear objective statement. By the end of my speech, I want my audience to da, 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 da. So if let's just say you're talking about religion or history or whatnot, the key here, like what Alan mentioned, is that not everyone is going to be on the same viewpoint as you. And this is where the objective statement needs to be clear. Do you want your audience to just understand, to know, to be aware of the history and the religion behind it, maybe some fun topics around it? Or are you trying to preach certain things? So if it's preaching, that's where the danger might come in. But if it's just sharing based on, I'm just here to help the audience to understand what is it about, then I think it's still okay. But this brings on to my second point, which is when you are on stage giving this practice in a Toastmaster setting, please let them know your ATO. Be upfront with them, especially for sensitive topics like this. For example, guys, I'm actually going to do this presentation about history and there might be religion involved. I want you to be an audience member and picture yourself as I don't know, university students. Picture yourself as this kind of people because this is going to be my topic. And then you go on. That way you preempt your audience to be almost like your real audience when you're giving it at the actual presentation date. So your Toastmasters members also wouldn't feel lost or confused if you're giving this presentation. Yeah, so I hope that gives you a little bit of an insight. Thanks so much for the question, Maru.
Thank
Lorna,
you.
while
Thank you
while
very
you
much.
mentioned ATO, brilliant technique, may I also remind all aspiring contestants, since we're speaking about preparing for speech contests, that the judges will be part of the audience, and the judge could lean in any direction regarding politics, religion, or the three-letter word ending in X. So be very careful that you are not going to rub somebody the wrong way or upset feelings because they are judging you. So ideally, I would stay away from these topics.
Okay, so this next question, there are two more. How do you ensure you convey the right emotions for your speech? We touched on it a little bit earlier, Mas. Can you expand a little bit more? And then we'll go back to Alan.
Sure, thank you so much. So how do you ensure you convey the right emotions when you give your speech, right? I think it boils down to how you write your speeches first. Why do I say this, right? Sometimes what I notice as because I do a lot of public speaking coaching and giving feedback to a lot of speakers, and one thing that I really realize is that a speaker who writes from their heart is very different, and you can see it from someone who's writing with ChatGPT. You can see the difference. And when they convey it, you can actually tell that this person does not have any connection to the words that they write. So when you are writing a speech, write as though you would say it, write as though you would express it, like how you would normally communicate it. And that's why my coach also tells me, when you write your speeches, write for the ears, not for the eyes, right? So that's where you write words that are more expressive in nature. The second thing here is once you write down those words and you have, this is the words that you normally say and this is how you would normally say it, work on the delivery aspect. get a camera, record yourself, watch yourself. When you say this, do you actually look like you mean it when you say it or not? The cameras won't lie. It will tell you the hard truth. And if you're supposed to look happy at this moment, but you look bland and normal, then you know it's time to work on that expression. And so keep recording and keep watching. It will be cringy and be very hard to watch, but it will be so rewarding at the end. Yeah. I'll toss it to Alan.
Got it. I'll add on to what Mas has mentioned. We say that that's called a spoken language and a written language. That's how I understand it. The way that we write and the way that we speak, language will be slightly different. I'm not an English teacher by any chance. In fact, English is one of my worst language subject that I have. So I like to keep things very, very simple. Before I start writing my speech, I usually would spend a lot of my time thinking about what I want to convey. So if I were to put in a percentage, right, from having the first thought of, oh, I want to deliver a speech until I finally craft the whole speech, right, 50-60% of the time are all in thinking. So what do I mean by thinking? I'll be thinking about, this is the part of my life that I want to talk about. I won't even rush to write it down yet. I would replay the scene in my mind. This was what happened. This was the people that come across in my life. For example, I want to talk about being part of a panelist in division, like in today's setting. So maybe 2 years down the road, I'll be reflecting or replaying that scene. This was what Jai asked during the panelist. This was how Mas react during that time. This was the question that was being asked. The more I replay it, the more I will have a feeling for it. Then I know exactly what emotions am I feeling. Was I excited at that point in time? Was I sad? Was I looking forward to it? What exactly was I feeling? So if I'm able to replay it and I can accurately pinpoint the feeling that I have, when I start writing, it becomes more natural. So that's the first one. Now, after I'm done writing it, I actually use voice memo and I would just read my script as if how I would deliver it. I'll just read it. And then when I'm driving or when I am sitting down waiting for someone, right, I will just play and listen back to myself. Now, why do I want to listen back? It's because I'm asking myself, do I have integrity with this story? Am I telling something as it is? Or I am trying to beautify it so that it sounds a little bit more inspirational. So I do ask myself, am I being honest with what I wanted to share? Okay, so the integrity. So a lot of thinking process, writing, then testing for the integrity of it. Now, why the whole idea of doing this over and over again is if you truly write what you feel, even when you are rehearsing it, you would feel it. You would even want to cry. Let me give an example. In the finals, when I asked the question, are you proud of me? When I was rehearsing it, I actually cried. I rehearsed it 10 times. There were 9 times that I was crying, 1 time that I was chuckling. So I knew this, are you proud of me? These few words meant a lot. So during the day when you really have to deliver it, instead of letting everything out, it was more like hold back because you can't cry. If you cry, you cannot finish the speech. So that is what I wanted to share when it comes to emotion. Dig deep, like what Mas mentioned as well. These are all the things that takes time. And yeah, I hope this sharing from both of us help everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Jai. Do you want to add?
No, I think, Rona, there are 2 questions, one from Witty and one from Nadim. And
Okay,
also
we
one,
take 2 quick questions. Witty, I think you had your hand up first. We are nearing the end and we do need to keep to our time.
Thank you so much. My question was, you have often talked about know your audience. Or knowing your audience, starting from the club meetings to the area, the district, it all changes. Now when it goes to the global stage, how do you still get to know that this is the audience you're going to face during the preparation so that you tailor your speech to the audience?
Thank you for your question, Witty. Mas or Alan?
Okay, I'll take this. I think this is a very quick and easy question. Thank you so much, Witty, for asking. Makes perfect sense. As you go up the levels of the contest, the audience will be different because in a club level, you know them very well, they know you very well. So certain humor, certain jokes, certain things will land strongly. But you start to realize in the area level, it may not work the same. You may start to realize in the district level, it doesn't work at all. So the key thing is when I'm writing my speeches, I try to write it for a global audience from the club level. From the very first level, I want to make it global, which means that people can still understand it. There will still be some minor local jokes here and there, but overall, the message, overall, the story, overall, the relatability has to be something that the world can easily understand. Yeah. And to make sure that I get this right, I will seek out a coach. And this coach will come from a different part of the world, and they will tell me, "Oh, Mahathir, this line I don't quite understand what it means. This word, what does it mean for your country, and what does it mean for our country?" And then we'll find the sweet balance to make sure that the international audience can understand. It can be as simple as using kilograms versus pounds, high school versus secondary school. As simple as that can make a difference.
I must
Thank you. Could we ask
I'll add on to
Alan
that.
quickly? Mhm.
Okay. So first question I ask myself is who are my audience? When I say who are my audience, it's not who they are only. I ask about like what are their age, what are the demographics, what would they be interested with, what would they be sensitive about? So that's the number one question. Who are my audience? Number two, why my speech matters to them. So why would they want to listen to me for 7 minutes? What's in it for them, not for me, for them. Number three is what pain are they in right now, or what challenges are they going through right now in their life. So if you know the challenges that someone faces, then there is a reason for them to listen to you, because it could be something that can help them at this moment right now, or it could resonate with them because they have been through that. Every one of us has our own set of challenges, whether we are 1-year-old baby or whether we are 80 years old person. We always have a different set of challenges at different point of our life. What is it that they are facing through right now that we could share something that can shed lights onto them? So these are three things: who they are, why my speech matters to them, and what is the pain and challenge that they're going through right now. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Alan. May I ask Nadeem to give us the last question? Unfortunately, our time is nearing its end.
Thank you so much, Lona, and thanks everybody. My question is about writing. Okay, we all talk about writing your speech. For me, I can't write a speech. I will write basically my points, and then I know how to connect my points when I'm delivering my speech. If I listen to you guys talking about writing, if a human being can speak 120 words in a minute, so that means, okay, I have to write like 600 words for 5 minutes. So should I be writing 600 words, or what is your strategy about writing your speech?
Okay, thank you so much, Nadeem. I think this is a really, really good question and a very important question as well. Personally, for me, again, it is a very personal choice. I would like to write my speeches and I would like to go through line by line. And the reason why I do this is because I am not giving this speech one time. I am duplicating this speech, which means I'm giving it at the club, the area, the division, and beyond. And in order for me to get the same impact and the same effect of the speech, you have to get your written statements and written sentences out so you can amplify it, you can modify it, and you can even retain what works. So that's why writing a speech is absolutely critical, at least for me, so that I know how to duplicate that effect as I keep going up the contest round. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Mars. We've reached the end of our Q&A moderation panel. Jai, would you like to say something?
Yeah. Yes, just a few lines. First to Nadeem, just add one line to say, Nadeem, only what is written can be edited. Okay, so please just bear that in mind, and it'll help you in future. Lorna, I think we have come to the end of this highly well informative panel discussion. I first of all thank my champion panelists for their valuable time and invaluable insights. I think it's helped everybody here. So Lorna, I think we need to take some pictures. I'm not sure if that's the case. I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you, Leah. Could I ask you to share the screen with the certificate for Mars. Mars, the certificate of appreciation for your time spent with us despite feeling a little bit under the weather. And I'm hoping Leah can share the certificate for me. I've had a bit of problem with my computer. Leah, are you there? She's not responding. Leah? I'm just hoping she's going to come on.
Lorna, maybe we can take a group photo first.
Okay, let's do
The
that. If someone,
division director, the panelist, and the moderator.
okay, let me just add spotlight myself. Add spotlight. So there we are. Let me just take the picture. Thank you. I'm not sure where Leah is with the certificates. I apologize, but I'm definitely going to pop it into a WhatsApp for you. And thank you so much for coming today. It was insightful, inspiring, and I know that one person, Nadim, is going to be doing contests. Right, Nadim? If not now, next year. Thank you so much.
Right.
Thank you, guys. And we will share the recording with those who... Oh, yes, Leah, coming with the screen sharing.
Oh, there you go. She's back.
Thank you so much, Mars. Let me take a picture. If the others could put their cameras off, and then I can take a picture with Mars alone. I'll put my camera off. And Alan, if you could just put your camera off for 1 second, I can grab Mars's picture. I know he's going to make some gesture. So thank you, Mars. And then I can ask Leah to share Alan's. And I will take a picture with Alan and ask everybody else to put their cameras off.
Christine, can you
Leah,
switch
if
off
you
your
could
camera?
change. Leah, if you
Yes,
could
yes.
change
I don't
the...
know what's happening.
Thank you, my dear.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know what's happening to my screen. It seems to be freezing. Just give me a moment. There we go. There we
No
go. There we
problem.
go.
There we go. Alan, your best smile. Thank you. That's a good one. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for coming and spending your extended lunchtime with us. More to come. And thank you, everyone that participated in making this such a success. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. Bye. And get well soon, Mas.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great
Thank you,
day.
everyone.
Have a great
Bye,
day.
Alan. Take
Bye.
care.
Bye, Alan.
Bye. Take care. Bye, Jai. Bye,
Bye,
Sean. See
Lorna.
you. Bye.
See you. Bye.